rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Blash.
Here.
Bunton.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Menser. Here. Raker.
Here.
Okay, we have announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. And tonight we have a presentation of a proclamation to Verben Yancey for his years of service in the Mount Clemens Volunteer Fire Department. So, Verben, if you want to come forward. Whereas the City of Mount Clemens pays tribute to its many individuals, organizations, and activities throughout the year, and whereas Verben Yancey has announced his retirement from the Mount Clemens Volunteer Fire Department number 3 after 25 years of service providing fire protection, assistance in life-threatening emergencies to citizens of Mount Clemens. And whereas Verben joined the department in November 1989 and became a volunteer fire chief in December of 2005, where he continued in the capacity until he announced his retirement effective January 5th, 2015. And whereas Verben received a certificate of merit for saving a life in 2000 and was awarded the Firefighter of the Year in 2005-2006. And where Verben spent his time not only as chief, but also as a training officer, treasurer, secretary of the department, and held the department together through some incredibly difficult times with his leadership and direction. In 2009, Chief Yancey worked with the Human Resource Department and other volunteer officers to update and revise the bylaws for the Volunteer Fire Department number 3, making it his goal to recruit qualified volunteer firefighters in order to increase staffing levels. And he would take the time to speak with prospective candidates and discuss the department's operation with them before they applied and provided guidance after they were hired. And his commitment to the community were evident as he served the residents in their time of need by responding to emergency situations or by coordinating the personnel of the volunteer fire department at the scenes in conjunction with the full-time department. And whereas under his leadership, the department stayed active in the community, participating in events such as the annual Santa Parade, the Fire Department Open House, the annual 4th of July Bike Parade in Seminole Hills, and manning the smokehouse at many of the downtown events. And whereas Verben is also a local business owner, a well-respected citizen, and a friend to all who know him. Now therefore, I, Barb Dempsey, Mayor of the City of Mount Clemens, on behalf of the City Commission and the Volunteer Fire Department and all our citizens, hereby thank Verben Yancey for his 25 years of devoted service to the Mount Clemens community and extend our best wishes for future filled with good health and every happiness in his future endeavors.
Speech.
Thank you, Mayor Dempsey and City Commission, City Manager. We really appreciate your support over the years. I'd like to take this time to give a thank you to a few people who helped me along the way. I think many of you knew the late former volunteer Chief Ken Kirkham, very instrumental in this department, in the city.
Verben, can you get it on the mic? They
I'm
can't
sorry.
record you back there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The late full-time fire chief Mike Coyle was a big part of the volunteer department as well. He always supported us through the years and helped us out. Retired Captain Mike Jupe was very supportive, did a great job for the department and the city. I see former retired Lieutenant Mike Murphy, big part of my career here. Retired Chief Bernie Wellhausen, still around. Retired Sergeant Dick Erkey, I'd also like to thank the full-time department, the 3 chiefs there, Captain Stark, Captain Percival, and Captain Shipman for their support. And 25 years seems like a long time, but it really flew by. And I appreciate everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other?
Some meeting announcements. The Beautification Commission will meet on Tuesday, March 3rd at 7 o'clock. The Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, March 3rd has been rescheduled to take place on Wednesday, March 4th at 7 o'clock. And the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd has been canceled.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda?
Mayor, I have to amend the agenda, removing item 10A from the consent agenda and making it 9E. And I move to approve as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Bunton,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Blash.
Okay. Oops, I moved on here. Lost my spot. Public participation. Now's the time you may address this body. All we ask is that you give us your name, your residential address, and you would adhere to the 3-minute rule. So please come forth.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Andy Kent. I live at 14 Woolworth Court. And tonight what I wanted to just spotlight was next Monday at the Select Specialty Hospital on North Avenue. Once again, you're all invited to the Kendrick Area Neighborhood Watch meeting. It's our standard monthly meeting. I know some of you have been there in the past, and we would love to see you again. 7 o'clock, just come and learn about what's going on in the northwest quadrant of the city. And if I could put in a plug for them, their cookies are really good. So we would like to see you there. Thank you much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Brian Korth, my residence is 58 Lincoln Avenue. And I'd like to just take a minute here to kind of heighten the city's awareness on a couple issues. Being the property owner of 2 adjacent homes over on Welch Street, over near Jones, I have noticed in this last several years, I have witnessed vacant properties on either side of me. There's currently 2 vacant homes behind me. Most recently, an additional vacant home, a property that abuts mine. It's vacant due to some fire damage. And I guess I must admit I'm a little bit ignorant on the status on some of these homes. But this most recent home, the damage to this home, it didn't seem as though it was so severe that the house could not have been redeemed. Maybe in a better economy, maybe it would have been. But apparently the path for this home is going to be towards demolition. But now with all of that aside, we have another issue, and I think this home is a good example. This home has been the recipient of numerous visits from a scrapper. And I know of at least 2 occasions where the police have been summoned while he was in the act. I know the police, they're out 1 week. The following week, it's the same guy, the same place, the same thing. And I know that Mount Clemens has a number of vacant properties currently. And my feeling on these vacant properties is that I would like to see these homes eventually be redeemed. I know there's some cases where they can't be. But I don't want to see these neighborhoods to just start to disappear, or I don't want to see holes in our neighborhoods. I don't want to see these scrappers come in and take out the so-called good stuff. I mean, if that happens, the chances of these homes being redeemed is going to be, reduced significantly. you know, and these homes and these neighborhoods, I mean, whether it's directly or indirectly, they belong to all of us. And I just wanted to comment and try to bring some awareness, because there's a number of vacant homes in this neighborhood, and I have property in that neighborhood. And I'm hoping that, you know, as we move forward with some of these vacant homes, rather than just tearing them down, I'd like to see possibly some of these, especially the older homes, maybe they can be saved. So that was just my comment.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else?
Laura Fournier, 70 Lodwick Street. I want to thank the commission for the appointment to the Planning Commission. I appreciate that very much. And I would just like an update on the sidewalk issue that we've talked about. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Schnurr, 80 Maross. Well, first, I want to follow up on Ryan's comment. You know, I think this is, it certainly relates to what I came here about, this ongoing thing with this agenda that the mayor's just now adopted, and of course Lois Hill's vacant property for years, 20-some years. What I've said before is that all this misdirected energy pursuing these agendas by these well-connected private individuals towards a person like me could easily be directed at this issue, but that would be too hopeful to think that practical solution could come up. But what I would like to address, though, is the idea that the mayor, I don't get this, that you can't see your actions being this unethical behavior of using your position to come after me, bringing these pictures which only mean that you're pursuing this agenda. You know, if I run over if there's a cat sitting in the street that's been run over, a picture of that doesn't mean that I've done that.
No.
So these pictures don't prove really anything. They just prove you have this hyperactive mentality of harassing your neighbors, and that's what we need to address. Well, you can laugh if you want, Mayor, but we need to talk about this in an ethical manner, and you're not willing to do that. And I would like to address Mrs. Hill's comments that she's made a statement that I think has to be unpacked here, that she's saying because, if I'm correct, your taxes are up to date, you own your home, and you get a pass, that you don't need to comply. And all those violations that exist on your house, you know, Brian's being directed, I'm assuming now that you've come out of the closet, at your direction to look the other way. And it's unacceptable. Again, you can smirk, you can laugh, you can give me all these hateful looks, but the point is, these are laws. You people have been elected to, you know, to be fair, to create a fair-minded city. That's what I'm expecting you to do. So when you show this pattern of all these unethical activities, you never do check. You know, you say it's all legal, but I've never heard you ask the next question that should be asked: is it ethical? So that's what I'm here, as long as I can keep coming for these little 3-minute spurts, to urge you to look at this unethically. I would want to piggyback on Denise's comments that you're urging people to set an example. Well, what I'm saying is Mrs. Hill is setting an example, a low one. And that's my point. I've surpassed this example. I live in my house. It's finished. We have these similarities that seem to be explained. They're explainable that they're not similarities. I don't need that explanation. I already know the truth. And I'm not going to wait for it either. It's just nonsense. The point is that this has gone on far too long. You want to rationalize it forever, but it can't be rationalized. Those pictures explain that house is deplorable. It sits there year after year. It looks like an abandoned property. You're fine with it, Mayor.
Thank you. Your time's up. Thank you very
Yep,
much.
time's up.
Scott Fry, 67 Eldridge, and I hate public speaking, but I'm here to talk about something else, but I've been by 80 Maross, just left, but it looks like a fine house to me. It has a nice fence, and I also know Lois and Tom, and the house looks great. If you go in the back of their house, it looks like something from Martha Stewart magazine or something. It's a great looking house. I don't get it, but anyways, and I always encourage people to restore houses. But I have a question: is 40 Eldridge going to become a rental property? I've noticed a lot going on. If Brian can answer that, or if somebody can answer that at the next meeting. And if so, what can we do to stop it, and who's the owner, and whatnot, and what can we do about it? And I would rather have it a rental property than have it torn down, but I prefer no more rental properties, and was wondering what's going on with that. And hopefully, if it is a rental property, it's a good one. That's all. Thanks.
Okay. Get back to you at the next meeting. Anyone else? Okay, oh.
Good evening, Dolores Kaseniak, 250 Euclid. I'm here on behalf of Neighborhood Watch. The DDA approved for us to have a tent and a table for the May 9th event, and our purpose is to get to know the neighborhood more and to tell people that we are there to help them and to have them join our Neighborhood Watch. Last week, Wednesday, was a very bad day, but we had a good attendance. We had 14 people that showed up, which we were surprised. And they all were eager about this with the tent and us getting involved in the neighborhood. And probably at the end of the month, I'm going to be sending out letters to the local business places and asking them for their help, which we would like is maybe a free coupon for French fries or coffee, anything to attract them to get into their restaurants to give them some business. And if the city wants to help us in any way, that's fine too. And you can, I don't know what you could donate right now. I don't really know. I know now we need all kinds of help. So if anything we can have, we really appreciate the use of the tent without paying the fee on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Administrative responses to issues?
Yeah, several things this week, Mayor. Number one, selective enforcement of ordinances was brought up at the prior meeting. The subject of that has been raised in the past. The city has no policy supporting or directing selective enforcement of ordinances. In fact, the city has averaged over 168 enforcement actions per month during calendar year 2014, not emblematic of any failure to enforce the ordinances of the city. Any ordinance with a specific concern about a specific property's compliance with city ordinances can bring that concern to the attention of the city. The city will investigate and take action as appropriate given the ordinances of the community and the circumstances involved. This applies to concerns raised by any resident, including city commissioners or anyone else. The second item I was going to discuss is a snow emergency here, and we had a meeting earlier this evening where that was on a work session of the mayor and commission, and that was discussed at that point in time. Just generally went over the facts of what challenges are associated with snow emergencies, and we'll move forward in the future and see if we can come up with a magic response that makes everybody happy in these situations. I'm not optimistic about that, but there are situations that come up during a heavy snow event that we have to take into account when we make a decision to do a snow emergency or not, and we did discuss those earlier this evening. The third point I was going to discuss was strategic planning. A commissioner had talked about their desire to have city administration actively involved in a forthcoming strategic planning process. A little bit of an update to the work towards scheduling our meetings on this important task. We actually do have prospective dates that we are looking to pursue the scheduling of the strategic planning sessions for March 23rd and March 30th from 7 to 10 p.m. on each of those Mondays, which are non-commission meeting nights. And the goal is to have city administration actively participate in the strategic planning process by being available to provide information, answer questions, and otherwise support this endeavor by the mayor and commission. The last point that I was going to talk about this evening, coverage for city manager, came up during my absence from last meeting on the 17th of February. By practice, the city manager reads certain portions of the agenda items as well as reports provided by the city manager at the city commission meetings when he or she is deferred to by the mayor. As such, the mayor is making that decision to defer in that case, and will continue to handle that at the discretion of the mayor. I recently was not able to attend that February 17th meeting, and the mayor made the decision to handle agenda items and the city manager reports. So again, that's at the pleasure of the mayor, basically, in how you'd like to see the meeting run. That's the last item that I had for administrative responses this week.
Questions? Commissioner Menzer?
Because I see Ruthie here, can you just give a few words on 95 inches?
Yeah, 95 inches, that process continues, as oftentimes is the case in these situations. Offers are made, counter offers are made. We're in the middle of that process with 95 inches and don't have anything really new to report on that process, but we'll keep people apprised as that comes to fruition or not in the future.
Anyone else?
I have something on just about each one of them. For number one, in regards to the specific concern referenced by Mr. Schnurr, Commissioner Hill's situation, is that an issue or not an issue? If it's not an issue, please say so. If it is an issue, let's address it.
As I mentioned, we take a look at the ordinances and the circumstances involved, so short of a specific question as to whether there's a violation at the property, I'm not going to get into, individual perceptions of issues, but the bottom line is we don't have any active enforcement going on with Lois Hills property.
Okay. But we have a pile with Mr. Schnurrs, which is interesting. So, my point. Anyways, I don't want you for it to be an issue for you. I just want a equitable enforcement, however that is to be. On the snow emergency, you covered that. Obviously, there are varying commentaries in regards to either calling it or not calling it. On that point, though, that's a very public issue, and it would have been good and healthy, I think, to have that discussion videoed so that people know where their representation lies on those issues. In regards to the strategic plan, I did make that request. I am also requesting if you would encourage your staff to bring their ideas as well, because they work specifically in their fields and are probably more aware of the best practices that are out there. So if they would please, I'm encouraging that level of participation, not just in a necessarily a supportive role. And in regards to the coverage for the city manager, historically, in the past, we have had a department head sit in. That's where Mr. Anderson gained his experience and knowledge, from what I understand, and I would encourage that practice to be considered moving forward. So, those are my comments. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Approval of the minutes from previous meetings.
Move to approve the minutes of the previous meeting as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Blash.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Okay, general business. 9A, adopt the Michigan Department of Transportation Resolution for Transportation Alternative Program, TAP funding. Need a motion?
Move to adopt the resolution in support of a conditional commitment to the Michigan Department of Transportation for Transportation Alternative Program funding.
Second.
Let me catch up here. The City of Mount Clemens Department of Public Services, in partnership with the Downtown Development Authority, has applied and received a conditional commitment from the Michigan Department of Transportation for a Transportation Alternatives Program grant, or TAP grant. The work will consist of a downtown streetscape project in which there will be improvements to the ADA crosswalks, sidewalks, additional landscaping, bike racks, and benches. The grant requires a 20% local match, which totals $98,300, which will be split 50-50 between the city's major street fund and the Downtown Development Authority. And this requires the approval of the attached resolution supporting the project prior to the application process. And I do want to clarify that. This is a tentative commitment that we have on this, not the actual commitment. At a later point in time, we will bring a formal agreement if things go well and we actually get the award. We will bring another item to the mayor and commission for actual approval of that at that time. Also attached for your review is a conceptual drawing of the proposed work, crosswalks and ADA ramps that will be worked on during this project, which include North Main and Macomb Place, North Main and New Street, Macomb Place and Walnut, Walnut and New Street, the crosswalk on North Main at Rotary Park, and some areas around the clock area.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Menser?
Yes, once again, Jeff, you did an awesome job pulling a grant. And I want to thank the DDA for, coming up with half of the city's requirement match. But Jeff, are there additional brick pavers in the? Are there additional areas in this map that are brick pavers? We're adding new ones.
We are not adding new brick pavers. We're actually eliminating the pavers and going with concrete.
Okay.
Decorative
I
concrete.
guess I was confused by this then. All right.
And one more piece of information too, Jeff has a meeting scheduled with MDOT on March 10th, and the deadline for the resolution was March 20th, but by doing this now, it allows Jeff to bring that resolution with him to the March 10th meeting.
Commissioner Raker?
As I'm looking at the intersection of Main and Market, is this rendering, is there a rationalization for the color and design of it? I mean, I like it. I like the colors. It's kind of
Yeah.
reflective of our school district. But
The color is not yet set in stone.
okay.
However, the design, actually, the curvature of that actually is the same curvature of the Clinton River, just scaled down to meet that crosswalk. So it's not just like we pulled this out of a hat.
Sure.
So,
I figured there was some type of rationalization. I like it.
thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Blash.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, 9B, request approval to display ribbons on the right-of-way in April for the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Need a motion?
Move to allow Turning Point, Inc. to display teal ribbons on trees, light posts, and signage within the public right-of-way in downtown Mount Clemens during the month of April 2015 to promote Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Support.
First paragraph is basically duplicative of that recommended motion. Turning Point would coordinate with the Department of Public Services on appropriate locations within the public right-of-way for the display of the ribbons. It would be the responsibility of the event organizer to remove all ribbons at the end of the month.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Blash.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes. C, request for the Second Chance Network to conduct a charitable solicitation within the public right-of-ways of from March 12th to March 13th, 2015. Need a motion?
Move to grant permission to the Second Chance Network to conduct charitable solicitations on March 12th and March 13th, 2015 at the listed intersections between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Second.
The Second Chance Network is seeking permission to conduct charitable solicitations at various traffic intersections on March 12th and 13th. The funds collected would benefit the homeless in Macomb County. Volunteers would be required to wear reflective safety vests. A certificate of liability insurance naming the city as an additional insured will be required as a condition of approval. In order to be consistent with other city-approved charitable solicitations, staff requested that the number of days and locations be reduced.
Questions, comments? Did you want to say?
I would just point out that in the event the request is approved by this body, that it should be approved on the condition that the certificate of liability insurance be changed. The certificate that was presented shows the city as certificate holder. It does not show the city as an additional insured, and to be a certificate holder really is meaningless. It doesn't provide coverage.
I believe if you looked at those, that certificate actually expires 3/12 of 15, which is the day, one of the first day they want to collect too. So I would need it, I would want a whole new certificate of insurance.
Oh, are you here? Okay, come forth, please.
Yeah, I do actually have the new certificate, which doesn't expire till March of 2016. Also on the certificate I have, it does list the City of Mount Clemens as additionally insured, if you'd like me to present that.
Commissioner Bunton, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a...
No, just before.
Okay.
This has the same language. It shows, the language is supposed to be City of Mount Clemens as an additional insured, and the coverage will be primary. This says certificate of holder. All that means is the city gets a copy of the policy. They're not named as an additional insured. And that's what we require, and we can go through it later on too.
Just slightly confused, the line above it actually says,
Well,
I don't know if
yeah,
that...
it doesn't have the language.
So we just need to change the language in it?
Yeah.
Okay, that can be fixed, absolutely.
Commissioner Bunton.
On your application for special event approval, there are 2 dates on this. Am I assuming that we've narrowed it down? That was the conversation about the dates, because on the certificate itself, it says from 3/10 to 3/13, and then it says also from 7/7 to 7/10.
We have just reduced it down to the Thursday and Friday in March.
Anyone else? Commissioner?
I'm not familiar with Second Chance Network, never heard of them before. The funds that you solicit go where?
It goes to help the homeless with shelter, food, clothing, and job training. Our primary goal typically is to find someone within the city who needs our help, either who is on the verge of becoming homeless or who is homeless. On our last drive, we actually were able to take a mother and a son who are living in a shelter and move them here to Mount Clemens, the new apartments at Cass and Groesbeck. I can't remember the name of it. We also helped them with food, we helped them with clothing. As they were getting organized, we helped them with gas so they could get to and from work, and we also provided them with jobs. There was another lady living downtown Mount Clemens, I think on Floral Street. I'm not 100% positive. She was on the verge, she had lost her job, she was going to lose her apartment. So this last drive, those were the two, the family and the individual that we were able to help within the city. So our goal is to keep the money within the city that we're working in. We hand out flyers during that time to ask people to let us know if they are aware of anybody living in the area that needs our help.
So that's how people are aware of who you are and what you provide?
We also,
just from the flyers?
We also belong to the Oakland County Homeless Coalition, so that helps. We work with MATS, which is the Salvation Army, over off of Mound and Warren. We work with McCrest, so basically also the United Way. So we're kind of referred in a number of different ways. The homeless community is actually relatively more tight-knit than people would expect, so the word travels pretty reasonably just by word of mouth. We don't like to spend a lot of money in advertising. We don't have a web site because the $1,500 that we would pay for that website can actually put a family of two up, for 4 or 5 months.
Do you have a location?
Yes, we do.
Is that the address here on Van Dyke?
That is our old address. We've now moved to off of Woodward and Royal Oak.
Okay.
More centralized location.
And the other thing that I would say is that I don't know how productive or how advisable it would be to collect at North River Road and the I-94 exit.
I would not.
I think that would be very dangerous.
We actually, I spoke with Mr. Tingley earlier, and we would be absolutely willing to take that off because we also agree that it probably wasn't the best idea for us to put that on.
A lot of traffic, but nobody's going to stop.
Yeah, so the 94 will absolutely not man anybody at if we're approved.
Okay.
Commissioner Raker?
I have 2 questions. One, in your application, under the block party signature form for block parties only, there is a list of people. I'm curious as to what is the significance of that, because they're not all from Mount Clemens, if any of them are from Mount Clemens.
A lot of them are actually living. Most of the volunteers that we have typically come from the Michigan Works program, or they're volunteers themselves, and if they're not, our paid participants are homeless individuals, so really they don't have any specific place.
So these are people that are going to support your efforts?
Is it the list of volunteers that we have? Is that what we
it says block party signature form for block parties only. And there's...
Was that the, I believe that's the volunteers. Yeah, can I take a look?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an intention there, it's just not clear what it's for.
Yeah, this is the people that will be participating.
Okay, and then my other question is, you look familiar. I think you were here the last 2 years, maybe. What was the history? What is our history with approving this? You have been before us before, am I correct?
Yes, and yep, last year we got approval as well.
The first time, or was there an issue and it came back?
Nope, the very first time we were approved.
Okay.
You weren't here the year before that?
No.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Okay. I also have an issue. Last year, you were approved for certain intersections, and you did appear in some of the intersections that you weren't approved for, and that happened to be Church and Groesbeck. And I'm real concerned there. That's not a wide enough street. It's very congested. I would not want you there.
Okay.
And what communities in Oakland County do you solicit?
In Oakland County, Royal Oak. We're working on Berkeley. Those are the only two that I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Okay. And how many in Macomb?
We have Mount Clemens, we have Fraser. Yeah, we have applied for Roseville, St. Clair Shores. Those are the 4 that I can think of.
Commissioner Riegler?
Mary, did you say that you guys were told not to go in a certain intersection last year and you did it anyway? Is that correct?
They were at an intersection last year that was not on the approved list.
Okay, why would something like that happen? And what type of exposure does the city take on for something like that, if you would? You please answer that question, and then the lawyer, I want to chime in on that as well.
Absolutely. I think it was a misunderstanding because we did go through several prints. We do obviously research every intersection. We want our people to be safe. I think on our initial draft that Church and Groesbeck came up, and I believe when we went out into the intersections, I think it was just a communication issue basically with that.
I don't think any additional liability. We would, if they have the proper insurance, if we were sued, we would say, we never even authorized them to be in that intersection.
Understood.
And if I may, if I could also address, we'd also, if approved, be willing to definitely take Church and Groesbeck off as well. We don't want there to be any concerns with the city. So if Church and Groesbeck is deemed to not be safe as well, if approved, we'll also take that off of our list and we will not man anybody there.
The other thing that occurred last year, that I had calls from people that asked your people who were collecting or volunteering what they're collecting for, and they couldn't tell them. And it kind of bothered people because, you know, if you're out there collecting, you ought to know what you're collecting for. So I had several calls last year on that.
We will definitely try to address that better. Again, the people that we do try to bring on typically come from homeless shelters. So what we do a lot of times in the morning is we will go to Matt's over on Mount. We'll say, you know, who wants to work? In the morning, we'll kind of give everybody an orientation. On each one of their containers, they have generalized information, what we help with. Unfortunately, sometimes people just don't listen, but this year we will make a much better effort to make sure that that does not happen.
Anyone else? Oh, Gary.
Yeah, I would just offer this as some helpful advice to you. I'm familiar with what the heck took place in the city of Fraser last year. And those people that were soliciting at 14 and Garfield did not conduct themselves very professionally.
I haven't been notified by the city of Fraser. We were just in contact with them.
Well, I worked with the city of Fraser, and they weren't real happy with the way in which those people conducted themselves at that intersection.
I will have to talk with them and try to address those situations.
Commissioner.
To your point, Commissioner Blash, is that of such gravity to where it's something that we shouldn't we shouldn't consider entertaining this again?
No, I don't think so. Just
Okay.
as long as those people that are, as long as you talk to those people before they go out there and tell them that they are visitors on our city and to conduct themselves accordingly.
Absolutely. We do have a set of rules that we do require. A lot of people from previous years this year are coming back, so this being our second year running, hopefully it should definitely be more organized, and we will definitely address those concerns.
Are you a 501(c)(3)?
We are working, we're pending
You're
currently.
Pending, all right.
I think kind of the temperature in the room is this could go either way for you. I really don't know. And I want to support you. I believe that the homeless, it is an issue. I think your heart's in the right place. However, you have some serious issues that need to be addressed. My colleague indicating that you have an issue in Fraser, the fact that your people were not conducting themselves in what our agreement was last year. is very concerning. I mean, I'm going to support you barely.
If I could address that, we just were approved by Fraser.
It's in your hands. It's your hand. It's in your hands.
They didn't bring anything to our attention. And anything that is brought to our attention, we try to address immediately.
Have you, if I may, have you approached them yet for this year?
Oh, yeah, we already have approval.
And you do have the approval?
Yes, we do.
I'm just going to say that I will probably not support you. I think you're in Royal Oak, you're in Oakland County. You really aren't in a lot of communities in Oakland County, but you're coming to Macomb County. So I have a little problem with that. I mean, from the standpoint, I like to support organizations that are in Macomb County first, and just some of the other issues that we had talked about earlier. So I just want to be upfront with you.
I appreciate that. We were originally based here in Macomb County, and about 75% of our funding does come back here to Macomb County. Most of the individuals, again, that we work with come from Matts and McCrest, which are both Macomb County-based organizations.
Commissioner Hill?
I just want to say that I'm rather undecided about how to vote on this issue. One of my problems is that when the Lions or some of the other organizations that solicit for money here solicit the money, it's the members of the organization that do it, not people that they go and pick up for the day to come in, and I have a problem with that.
Our mission statement is to help the homeless with shelter, food, clothing, and job training. So our goal is to, if we are going to hire anybody, if anybody is going to get paid, it's going to be the homeless individuals. So we want to make sure that any money's made, we want to make sure that it goes as much to the cause as possible. So again, those are why we pick those individuals for McCrest and Matts. We want to help them get out of the situation they're in and hopefully get them into a place of their own.
Well, I can appreciate that, but I think most of the people, I mean, you're a member of the Lions. I mean, most of those people that solicit money are doing it as volunteers, aren't they? They're not getting paid.
Absolutely. They're all Lions Club members.
Yeah, and I think that's the case of other organizations.
On that point, I just want to point out it's an entirely different mission, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's my point as well.
Okay. Commissioner Blash.
Well, just my final comment.
Yes, sir.
I'm willing to give you a second chance.
Thank you.
It's a good way to characterize it. Thank you.
All right, are we ready to vote? Roll call.
Menzer,
Yes.
Raker,
Yes.
Blash,
Yes.
Lunton,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
No.
Hill.
Yes.
And that is subject to acceptable insurance and the deletion of North River and 94 and Groesbeck and Church. That's what the motion is based upon, correct?
And
We'll see how you
the
do.
date as well?
Thank you. Thank
Might
you all
get me
very
to
much.
switch next time.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
If I may,
The contract doesn't say that.
the following meeting after, maybe you should come and tell us how well things did.
Absolutely.
That would probably help any future requests.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. 9D, approval of purchase payments and invoices. I need a motion first.
Move to approve the purchase and payment of invoices as presented.
Second.
Okay.
I don't see Marilyn here, so I have a question about the high-tech invoice. We have a reciprocal purchasing agreement with the county for office supplies and stuff, do we not? Yeah, kind of like a shared purchasing thing?
I imagine it's available to us.
But I thought we had one already?
I would have to check with her about that. I note that the source of the bid was not that, if that's the point.
Well, I guess when I talked with Marilyn at one point, she told me that we did have a kind of a shared agreement for purchasing in bulk for like office supply type things from the county. And I'm looking at this high-tech bid for the Pro Desk 600 computers to purchase 5 of them, and I looked at the price that we have on here, $779 a piece. Now, I happen to know that the county just purchased 70 HP desktop 700s for $473. That's a massive savings. That's a savings of $2,600 or $2,369. So if we have a shared purchasing agreement, I'm wondering why we did, you know, because that model, the 700, is 3 better than what High Tech is quoting us. So I guess I'd like to make a motion that we approve the other bills and invoices with the exception of High Tech until you know, we have some direction on that.
Yeah, we can check into your question specifically about the potential sourcing through the county and what kind of a price we would have realized there versus what we're realizing through this REMC. Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
The motion was to approve these, so would you have to either amend the motion or substitute a motion, and the person that originally made it would have to accept that? Something has to happen. Did you make the original motion?
No.
I did.
If he's willing to accept his
Are
amendment,
you
then you guys
willing to
can
accept
move
that
on.
amended to pull that out?
Sure. Obviously, because obviously you've got information that the city doesn't have, and I don't have any problem with that.
Who seconded?
Lois.
Who seconded? Lois?
Commissioner
Oh,
Hill.
you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Okay, do you have that down right, Lisa?
With the exception of High Tech.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Raker.
Yes.
Lash.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
9E, appointments to boards, committees, and commissions.
Move to approve appointments to boards, committees, and commissions as presented.
Support.
Okay, I'm going to give my little stump speech here. This is my issue. Appointments are my issue. We have a way that it can be done, and it is being done and has been done. I've been proposing improvements to that, and I'm going to make that a continuous issue as long as I'm on this commission and as long as the practice continues. I do like the fact that Mr. John Bryan, we did receive his application. I would like us to eventually graduate to the level of where these applications are actually included for review of the public. I still take issue with this reappointment, automatic push button, retirement, like specifically the Retirement System Board of Trustees. That was not advertised, it was not on the website, but we just continuously go back to the same without ever offering anyone the opportunity or, without ever offering up that opportunity to anyone else, specifically in this instance. But, I know that there still is a vacancy. Maybe it's not the Historic District Commission, maybe it's the Historic Commission. There are 2 separate ones, I'm aware, but I am just going to continuously point out the fact that appointments should be all-inclusive as far as whether it's appointment or reappointment. Your credentials should be provided to the administration, to everybody on the city commission. The mayor can pick who she wants, that's fine, I don't have an issue with that, but there should be a basis for judgment. And a lot of these people, they've been in the capacity of the Board of Trustees for the retirement system before many of us were on the commission, so I never actually had a say-so or a review of their credentials, so, and nor has the public. So that's my shtick. I'll keep on that soapbox, but I will support these people, and I appreciate them volunteering their time.
Anyone else? Commissioner Renser?
I was going to ask our finance director, but she's not here, so I'll ask Commissioner Hill. Can you tell me what the percentage is for funding of the retirement system? Are we 97% funded, 92% funded, or 80% funded?
80%.
No,
No,
it's more than
90,
that.
I think we're
94.
98, wasn't 98 for general, and
I think it's 94.
94
Both solidly in the 90s is
for
correct.
fire?
Yeah.
Police and fire.
It's, the retirement system is in real good shape,
Yes.
real good.
And can you just tell us, what's the return on investment? You know, are we making 2% on it, 5%, 12%? We don't know.
Varies.
He's been doing terrific.
Yeah, I don't know the percentages. I do know that it's the envy of the industry, I would say.
Unit sales
So-
has done an outstanding job for this
I
community.
think last year, something like,
Outperforming like 90%.
Percent.
Yeah.
90% of
the other
others.
Cities, so.
and I think last year, wasn't it 16%? It sticks in my mind, something like
Couple
that.
percentages.
We're
He
at
had
60
a tremendous year last year.
We're
in
at
the
62
sales.
million in the retirement fund.
And that's after
We
the
have an
district court
excellent
left.
manager in David Sowerby with Loomis and Sales. So. I would like to point out that on that board, there are specific requirements for people to be on it. It has to be 2 people that are city commissioners. I think it's 1 or 2 people have to be from, that are retirees.
One from the fire department.
There has to be somebody from the fire department. There are specific requirements.
I had to resign
Right.
when I retired.
So are you the other one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if we're at that percent funding, then I would assume that the commission is doing a good job, and
That
would,
board is doing
the
an
board-
excellent job.
The board is doing
That
a good
board is
job,
doing
and
an
that
excellent
we would go
job.
forward.
And our chairperson, Glenn Voorhees, does an excellent job, too.
Very well versed. It's not one of those committees that you can throw somebody on. It takes a long time to know, and you have to have, time to learn the financial background and things. So this is one committee that you need seasoned people on.
Glenn's a former banker.
He's a banker, right. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Flash.
Yes.
Bunten.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Okay, the rest of the consent agenda.
Move to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Support.
Roll call.
Bunten.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
City managers report.
Get there shortly. Budget process update. I had several items this week. I previously provided a time frame for adoption of the fiscal year 2016 budget to mayor and commission. Our budget process continues on schedule. Budget should be distributed to the city commission on April 2nd, 2015. I apologize for the typo there. With work sessions to follow after that. We plan for a public hearing on May 4th with budget adoption on May 18th. Second item I discussed was a macro update. The city continues to actively participate with macro. This organization provides an excellent forum for sharing information about collaboration opportunities as well as exchanging of information. Recent subjects discussed have included the Great Lakes Water Authority and associated developments and the road funding proposal to be voted on May 5th, 2015. Some things in that subject, possible public hearings and involvement and requests for formal support, which, by the way, this mayor and commission has also received from the Michigan Municipal League. Number 3, fire consolidation study update. The work of the leadership committee on this project continues. This work includes narrowing the field based on proposal content, development of interview questions, and review of prior work, etc. The goal is to have a final recommendation established by the end of March, which then would go through the county processes.
Questions, comments on city manager's report? Okay. Commissioner reports. Mr. Campbell.
First, I'd like to congratulate Captain Shipman from the Mount Clemens Fire Department on being selected as the Mount Clemens Firefighter of the Year and for helping make our fire department #1. Number 2, I'd like to thank the Neighborhood Watch people for their involvement in helping make the city a better place. And regarding the sidewalk and emergency snow programs we talked about at the work session today, Both of those are in the common good, even though not everybody uses sidewalks. Not everybody wants a snow emergency declared, but it is in the common good of the city. And I am in full favor of a sidewalk program, not just a patchwork here and there. And we talked about several cities that have implemented programs. I believe we need to act on that and act right away. With that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill.
I'd like to agree with Commissioner Campbell on his comments about the sidewalk program. Also, I thought there was a very nice article in the Journal that came out this past week about the people we selected to be our local treasures, Thelma Ulrich and Mr. Mangan. And Julie Snyder, who wrote the article, did a beautiful job of writing. And I think it was a lovely article, and I'm glad that they got some public recognition besides being awarded at the City Commission meeting. And that's all I have tonight. Have a great week. Stay warm.
Commissioner Raker.
Hey, I'd like to address the work session issues that were discussed. I think in that instance, especially with sidewalks, the sensitivity that people throughout the years have demonstrated, that conversation should have been had publicly taped so that everyone is aware that, hey, this is an issue that the commission is taking seriously, and it also gives people the opportunity to see where their representation stands on this, and maybe reach out and contact them and say, hey, you know, I have concern on where you're at with this, or I'd like you to consider the following. Absent that from public review, you're not going to have as rich of a program, I think. So, but I am glad that both were considered this evening. Thank you for updating on 95 inches. On the going back and forth with Mr. Schnurr, if we can please, I asked for an objective assessment of that, and I felt like I got a little bit of a tiptoe around the issue. That is when I talk about the fact that there are issues of public concern and credibility with the administration and elected body in this town. That was the first thing I said over 3 years ago when I amended the agenda at my first meeting. I talked about what people say in this community about their impressions of city administration. And so those are things that need to happen with some transparency, with a level of transparency and with a level of objectivity and a level of directness. And that will establish credibility. I want to revisit, Mayor, your comments in closing last meeting. You had indicated the sergeant was here on his off time. I spoke with the sergeant after the meeting, and the sergeant was actually being compensated in one way, shape, or form. So whether it was in the form of comp time or whatnot. So for the record, I bring this up because you had mentioned, you know, about being respectful. You gave a commentary on that. I just want to make sure the public doesn't get it twisted, or anyone else get it twisted, that I commonly do disagree with some members of this commission. And just because I disagree doesn't mean it's disrespectful. On the note of the local treasure award, fantastic. I was glad to see them both receive it. But it was pretty interesting also that the last two individuals that have been recognized by the mayor would be fantastic candidates in the future going forward. Mr. Morissette last time, who was supported by the Traffic Safety Committee, and also with his involvement as a retired police lieutenant for the Mount Clemens Police Department, and also a mentor to you as a safety, Commissioner Blash, when you were a youngster. When I was leaving, I spoke to him briefly, and he noticed that I often wear my Navy lanyard around my neck, and he said, I like that. And I said, well, are you a veteran? Have you served? And he said, yeah. He said, I said, well, when? And he said, World War II. I said, really? I said, what campaign? He said, I served in the South Pacific. And he went on to say, any campaign specifically? And he went down a list of them to include the occupation of Japan. So that, coupled with all of his service to the community, I think going forward, it would be definitely a consideration for for a local treasure award, along with Mr. Verben Yancey, who is a distinguished resident and business owner here in town. So congratulations to Mr. Verben Yancey. Also, congratulations to Captain Shipman for his selection as Firefighter of the Year. I want to bring up one issue that's probably a little sensitive in regards to, there's been some social media that was brought to our attention in regards to some commentary of a specific employee that has a lot of public interaction. This was brought to my attention actually over 3 years ago when I ran for city commissioner, and I've been bringing it to the administration. I brought it to their attention several times over the years. If you are getting complaints from every cardinal direction of town and every socioeconomic background about the same person, it starts to have a detrimental effect to the image, the public image of our community, of our administration, and us as an elected body. So I hope that gets some traction and is addressed at some point in time, please. And then lastly, tomorrow is the 100th anniversary, the centennial anniversary of the Navy Reserve. And as a member of the Navy Reserve, I just want to share that with the public. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
I too want to give a shout out to Captain Shipman. He's a 20-year employee. He started as a volunteer and worked his way up to captain. So I want to thank him for everything he's done for the city. Last week, Tuesday, Commissioner Raker was there, and I attended the Bobby Hill Welcoming Center program at the county administration. The lobby in the downstairs was, Mayor Hackle called it the Bobby Lobby. It was dedicated in his honor. Mr. Emerson was there and gave a nice speech about Black history in Macomb County. The Ministerial Alliance was there and provided a check for $6,200 for a sculpture of Bobby Hill. Bobby has been instrumental in encouraging people to do the right thing. A very soft-spoken gentleman, but one who has a long legacy. If you're down in Mount Clemens, just stop in there. It's got some beautiful seating. It's got free Wi-Fi. You can go in there, set up your laptop, and conduct business. So it was a very nice event. A lot of Bobby Hill's family was there. There was a lot of other speakers. Fred Miller, our county commissioner from Mount Clemens, was there. Mr. Stanley Rich was there and gave a really great speech. He was a Clinton Township, he started as a constable and then became a Clinton Township police officer. Interestingly enough, he worked with Mark Hackle's dad and also with my dad. It was a great event. But I also want to give a shout out today to the Macomb Cable Network. They placed second in the Digital Media Experience category for Mount Clemens High School in the 2015 Michigan Student Broadcast Awards. This is the fourth time that the Macomb Cable Network has placed within the top 3 categories in the state. They received a first place finish in 2013 for the news feature category for the Bath City Beat stories. They are one of the first in the state to make public meetings such as this one available online for non-cable customers. And they remind you that the Bath City Beat can be seen in Mount Clemens on Comcast Channel 5, WOW Channel 10, AT&T U-verse on Channel 99, and on our website. So congratulations, you guys. And that's my comments for the evening.
Thank you. Commissioner Button.
Well, congratulations to the cable company as well. I did read the article. I didn't prepare a statement for it, but guess what? I know you guys are the tops. My only comment is daylight savings time starts this Sunday, February 8th. Don't forget to set your clocks forward 1 hour before you go to bed on Saturday night. And Commissioner Wisdom for the night. Okay, we'll go with John Wooden, Coach John Wooden. Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. And with that, we'll say goodnight.
Commissioner Blash?
Just a couple of things. I'd like to, again, I'd like to congratulate Chief Yancey for 25 years with the Volunteer Fire Department, and Captain Shipman for being recognized as Firefighter of the Year. And other than that, as you note, I have no sweater on tonight, so I'm nice and warm. I'm glad it warmed up.
Okay. I too want to congratulate Verben. He will, as far as I know, still remain here. He runs and owns, I'm sure, I think. If I speak out of turn, I'm sure one of the commissioners will correct me. Jack and Meldrum's. So thank you for confirming that. So I'm glad that he's still going to be around and in Mount Clemens. Thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Raker. I was going to correct myself because I did state that he was here on his own time, and I did find out after also that he is being paid. So forgive me for speaking before realizing what I should have known. I also want to congratulate Captain Shipman and our deputy, David, I think it's Jeroma, if I'm not mistaken. He's a sheriff deputy. He was also Deputy of the Year, and he is out of the Mount Clemens station. So I just want to congratulate him also. And I think that's it, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Roll call.
All right.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Blash.
Yes.
Bunting.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.